So I'm going to talk a little bit about some calculations from experiment 3 that you can do before lab, since our experiments are due at 2:20 p.m., the end of the lab period, and we've had a little trouble getting out on time in the past couple labs. So these calculations involve our dilution calculation that you did in experiment 2. So MCVC equals MDVD. The C stands for the concentrated molarity and volume. The D is for our diluted concentration and volume. So we're going to make 5 test tubes, kind of like we did in experiment 2, with different concentrations of iron 3+ from our iron 3 nitrate. Okay, so we're going to determine the concentration of iron in each of those test tubes and the concentration of thiocyanate from potassium thiocyanate in those 5 test tubes. And this is going to give us our initial concentration of iron 3+ and our initial concentration of thiocyanate that we use in each of these test tubes. And this initial concentration will be used in an icebox calculation under our I row for our icebox, like we've been doing in class. So what we can do is determine our concentration of our diluted. So our concentrated concentration of the iron 3 is equal to 0.0020 molar, and for test tube 1, the concentrated volume is 2.50 molar. We can add the volumes of each of the solutions we use in to make the solution, and we get 5 mils total, which is our diluted volume. So essentially, we have our concentration, MC, our VC, and our VD, and we solve for our diluted concentration for each of those 5 test tubes for iron. Same thing for our thiocyanate. Okay, our concentrated molarity is equal to 0.0020 molar. And we have those different volumes of the concentrated solution that we use. So it's either 0.5 or 1 or 1.5. And the total volume equals 5 in each of those test tubes. So VD equals 5. So again, we have those values, MC, VC, and VD. So for example, in test tube 1, we can figure out the concentration of our thiocyanate. It's 1-to-1 ratio, so it's coming directly from our potassium thiocyanate. And so we're taking our concentrated molarity, 0.0020 molar, times the volume you would use in test tube 1, 0.50 milliliters, equals our new diluted concentration, times our total diluted volume, 5.00 mils. Solving gives us our concentration equal to, let's see what it is, 0.0, so here it is, 0.00020 molar, so 2 significant digits. So that value, we calculated before lab, and we can fill that in our data table 1 in our lab notebook, which we'll then copy into our lab report form. So for tube 1, we just figured thiocyanate is 0.00020 molar. We can figure out the concentrations of all the others, irons and thiocyanates, using our equation that we just did. So you're going to do this for iron 3+ for each of those test tubes and for the thiocyanate for each of those 5 test tubes. So you have 4 more calculations to do. For the thiocyanate iron 2, I'm filling in 0 here because we're not adding any of that into our mixture. So this calculation actually goes right here. It asks you to show the calculation in your report form for tube 1. We did it for thiocyanate. You can complete it for iron, and you can also complete it for all of the other test tubes in the lab.